Right. And also it seems that the LM like recently, I mean, it's the reasoning ability is getting better. And then like we can see the first demo of like how an LM will do like a data science kind of project. It's from the code interpreter on ChatGPT with GPT-4 model. And that's just seems like the beginning. And because I got a friend like who was also working in data science, and we were talking about this topic, and he was like, okay, like maybe I'll be replaced someday, and with that, so like they're trying to find what's the next direction I'm gonna take, and trying to leverage this instead
Yeah.
of yeah.
You
So
know, I it's starting like the whole like, oh, maybe I'll get replaced. It's like, yeah, one day for sure. But I like to leave those for like kind of like philosophical conversations around the fireplace,
right,
that
right.
type of thing. Like today, like actual, like if I'm a college student just about to graduate, what am I doing today? I'm still learning the fundamentals. I mean, I guess if we're talking about data science, I'm still learning the fundamentals of data science until there's a
Right.
tool that comes out there that there's always going to be tools that you need to learn to up level in your job, right? If you're worried about getting replaced, that's a rough place to be in. The advice I would give to you is stay at the forefront of what's coming out for your specific industry.
Yeah.
If you do get replaced, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to be like, hey, Monday morning, you don't have a job anymore. It's going to be a slow transition. And like any competitive professional, and when I say competitive, I just mean somebody who's active in learning in their career, you're going to have to learn the tools. People had to learn computers. They had to learn the internet. They learned SaaS. Anybody who didn't learn the SaaS software, or they were anti that, well, they didn't get by very long, and they're definitely not having fun right now. So I'm
Right.
not worried about anybody getting replaced right now. I
Yeah.
think there's ample opportunity for you to uplevel your skills all over the place.
Right. Yeah, I think definitely. So I think and also it's actually so for data science, there's like actually a lot more, I guess. It's just a lot deeper than we usually think. For different levels of knowledge, and also value that human or scientists or professionals have to do. So it's not like
Yeah,
really
I
easy.
totally agree. And the other thing too that I think people overlook is a single job function is not a single workflow, right?
Right.
Like even if we were just take a small example, data scientists, where do they get the requirements from? Well, it's usually a stakeholder that they have that tells them what is a priority for the business and what they need to go do. Okay, so is a stakeholder going to input a prompt and get an answer out? No. So
Yeah.
the human is also a huge storyteller and interpreter that comes with it. So I think the most likely example is that data scientists, yes, they'll still have their jobs. Some of their mini workflows will get a little speed boost, right? Just like DBT comes out and helps people with the ETL process. And there's a lot of really cool things with it. Well, a lot of people are learning DBT and now they're speeding up and they're going faster and things like that. So I think the same thing will happen with AI. Like, hey, can you go do exploratory data analysis for me? Go give me some good stuff back. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to double click myself and do manually, go dive deeper into a section here. But no
Right.
one's getting their job replaced overnight.
Yeah. Definitely. So yeah, we're also interested. Like, are you building? So because on the tutorials in your channel, so you're working on the LangChain, and that was pretty cool because it's really useful and helpful for us, especially that we're trying to learn. And are you building any like exciting or interesting projects or products, or even your current position at as a startup, Digits?
Yeah.
Yeah, you mind sharing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually left my position at Digits. This was in January of this year. So January
Oh,
2023. And since then, I've been on my own, and a major portion of that has been doing content for the AI space. Now, what has been surprising to me is the amount of reaction that had come from it, and I think it was a lot of right place, right time, and that's. I mean, I see that's totally cool.
yeah.
I think a little bit of it too was that I found a way to try to position content that I think has a little bit of a reaction that comes from the audience, which is awesome. And so now there's a big open question, which is, hey, when you have YouTube subscriber growth, and a little bit, not much, but just a little bit, and you have a little bit of Twitter growth, what are the routes in front of you to go have some fun, right? And so the way that I'm answering that question for myself is, you have to think about your personal goals, not even career, but like, what kind of life do you want for your family? What life do you want to live? How do you want to grow? Just all those other stuff. You start with what's important to you and your values. And then from there, you back out a plan, just like anything else at work. I mean, it's not rocket science, right? And so I've done that with myself, and I've backed it out. And as of right now, I'm having a lot of fun and getting a lot of good ROI on the content side. And the content side is kind of a trite word that's overused, but really, I like making cool projects and I like sharing them with people. And right. It's been fun, right? And so I think that the piece that I'm leaning into right now is that though I've gotten popular over tutorials thus far, I don't necessarily want to keep on doing tutorials, right? There could be one route where I want to go do a school type of environment, and I, teach people how to do that. But I've told you my background. At my core, I'm not a software engineer, right? I'm a B2B products guy who really, really likes seeing products scale. I really like extracting an insight from a customer and figuring out what to build. I really like looking at a market landscape and figuring out how do we position ourselves for it. I really like data analysis. I like a lot of other things that come with it. And so I think a school maybe not quite yet, especially on the software engineering side. And then on the company side, that is 100% in my purview for sure. But I don't want to rush into it. I want to do something that's like, when it hits me and the right people come into play, the right idea comes into play, then I want to say, you know what, I'm ready to go tackle that for now. However, the content side right now, people often say how you make content and it ends up being a top of funnel for you. It's absolutely true, because a lot of cool opportunities have come. A lot of speaking opportunities, a lot of meeting really cool people, a lot of meeting really cool VCs, and meeting really cool sponsors too. So I'm starting to do a little bit of sponsorship content for the content. But my approach right now, like I said, this is being long-winded, but I said I don't want to be just known for tutorials. So if I think about the intersection of business and the AI space, I think to myself, what really, really excites me right now, and the thing that just freaking fascinates me so much is, where is value going to accrue in the AI space and business? Like, how is AI going to help business people do more? Like, I'm not talking about which jobs are going to get replaced. I'm talking about today. Like, the marketing person on your team, they log in on Friday morning. What could they be doing today that's going to help your business out? And talking to people about that, hearing those stories, it's just been extremely fun. So the last thing I'll say, then I'll pass it back to y'all, is I just heard about this concept of the AI committee at the workspace, right? I had no idea what this was. I was talking to a VC. They said, yeah, we're starting our AI committee at work right now. I said, what's that? They said, oh, well, it's a group of employees that are tasked with figuring out what we should do internally to get better at AI at our workplace. I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. And I tell my wife that, and she goes, we just got an email about that today. We have our own group doing that right now. And so this is the perfect type of problem, and just such an interesting thing that I'm really fascinated by. So I sent out a tweet, and I ended up getting 12 user research interviews of people who are doing AI committees. And it's like, heck yeah, let's talk about this. What are you doing? What's working? What's not working? And so I'm putting out a video on that probably later this month on what I learned from it. But those are the types of things that I find really interesting.
That is cool. That is very cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you're hop on your new journey, and feels like really exciting. And also maybe one last question on this topic is that, like, you back in when we were at the data intelligence team at Salesforce, and you worked you started from doing data science, data analytics, and then you became the director of the team and leading a bunch of data scientists, I guess. But so, is there any valuable lessons that you learned through the process, like especially in a corporate setting in data science field, and you became a leader in this field? And
I would say that the biggest one that's standing out to me even today is the amount of storytelling that happens within a corporate data team. Now, If you're in academia and you're doing research and you're doing deep ML, okay, there's not a ton of storytelling that goes on there, and that's okay. You're doing your research project. But when you're in a corporate environment and you have stakeholders and you only have so much energy that you can expend, you have to make sure that that expenditure is going to good use, right? So I have a topic for a very long form article, potentially even longer, that's all around the empathy that an analyst needs to build before they can do good data analysis. And it's really 3 parts, right? So you need stakeholder empathy, which means you need to know what their priorities are. You need to know what's important to them. You need to know where the business is going, and you need to know what they'll react to and like what you need to do, right? Mm-hmm. Number 2 is customer empathy. So who is your customer? What are they doing? Have you looked at the usage logs one by one to really get a feeling for what they're doing? Have you done user research interviews? And all that. And then the last one, which maybe is, I should have said first because it's kind of lame, but it's product empathy. So do you know your product inside and out? Salesforce is a very complicated product. Now that's just the sales piece is complicated, but then there's platform, and then there's mobile, and then there's the ecosystem, and then there's the app exchange and all that other stuff. It gets very complicated very quickly. And if you don't have all 3 of those pieces as a data person, you're not going to have a good time, and your impact is not going to be as much as the next person who has all 3 of those things. So what I learned at Salesforce was that there is an immense amount of non-data skill that one needs to learn in order to be an effective data person in a corporation like that.
I see. Especially I think in the business setting, and also it's like, how do you the data science, the data is your tool and your weapon to how do you use this based on the person, right? That's
exactly it. And so another saying I have is like, analysis does no good if it just stays on your local computer,
right?
Right? It's like, even if you came up with the most groundbreaking freaking money-making thing analysis,
right?
How you infect the org with that insight is also a skill that is hard to do.
Right.
Yeah. And I think those 3 points also speak to like a core issue I see in a lot of data science. I see at work, whereas like models can give you numbers, which sounds like a great answer to whatever the problem is, but and you can maybe someone's very good at selling the numbers and convincing other people to make decisions based on that. But whether the numbers actually mean anything or not, whether the model is any good, a lot of times like the end users can be easily duped for a while. And that's like a hard thing to balance, I think, in data science, because there's like this really strong information asymmetry, and like you can give these results, but the value of the results, whether they're good or not, like has this time lag before everyone knows it. And that's like a big challenge I see a lot.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and you're hinting at something that doesn't get talked about a ton, but I think information asymmetry is a great way to put it, because the data person is extremely intimate with the data, knows how dirty it is, knows all the exceptions and everything. An interesting way to look at it, though, is the purpose of the data scientist to recite a number, or is the purpose of the data scientist to implement change within their organization? You're not getting paid to crunch numbers. You're getting paid to guide the product team to go do something, to guide the exec team, to be an evangelist for the customer within your org. And so there is a very delicate balance between balancing all those details, because there's no right answer, and no stakeholder wants to look at a spreadsheet. They want the takeaway. So like, that's another skill, which storytelling is a whole nother subtopic that I'll probably put in that long form piece too. That's yeah.